you a good witch or a bad witch? Hi everyone, welcome to Cake and It's Special. This week I'm making a cake of Glinda the Good Witch from the classic film The Wizard of Oz. So here we go. I begin with 4 lemon cakes. 3 of them are 6-inch round and the top one is a dome cake. I stack them all up with lemon buttercream in between each layer. When I add the 3rd layer of cake, I realise that this is going to be a bit too tall, so I take away one of my 6-inch cakes. I shave down the sides of the cake just to neaten it up a bit. When I'm happy with all of this, it's time for a crumb coat with some more of my lemon buttercream. I pop this in the fridge for about 20 minutes and then it's time to add another layer of lemon buttercream, making this one as smooth as you can. I use my offset spatula and my flexible smoother for this. So this is going to be the skirt of Glinda's dress and I cover it in a pale pink fondant. I use sculpting tools to work my way up the sides of the cake to make it look like the folds within the dress. I put a dowel through the top of the skirt which will then support the body. And once you've done all this, you can then move on to the body. I use modelling paste to make the body. I start with a teardrop shape and use my fingers to pull out the neck and flatten the shoulders. I use my hands to pull out 2 boobs and use some sculpting tools to help. I add a dowel through the centre of the body before putting it on the cake. That way I have more control of keeping it in shape. Then add it to the top of my skirt. I use more of my pink fondant to add her top. I roll it out nice and thin and cut out a V and then attach it to her body using a little bit of water. I wrap it around here and cut away the excess with a sharp knife. I use sculpting tools to add the crease lines into the top of her dress as well. Now it's time for the head. I take a ball of my modelling paste and I roll my finger across it about halfway down. I then use my fingers to pull down a chin. And I use a balling tool to add in some eye sockets. Then create a hole in the base of the head so it is ready to put on the dowel with the body. I use a sculpting tool to add the mouth, and I add a little fondant later on to give her a little bit of lipstick. I add a tiny nose and I insert some white balls of fondant into the eye sockets. I add smaller circles of brown fondant into the eyes and add some details with brown food gel on a small paintbrush, and then add some pupils after that. I add some small balls for her ears. So to make her magic wand, I roll out some grey fondant and add some dots before cutting a star out of it. I then add a wooden skewer to the star and paint the whole thing with silver petal dust and clear food grade alcohol. While I'm letting that dry, I take some pink petal dust and a dry paintbrush and just dust some shadowing in the creases that we created in the dress. I take some more of my modelling paste and create Glinda's arms. I roll out a cord and flatten one end for the hand and work in a wrist and an elbow. Cut out a triangle to create a thumb. I'm not going crazy with the fingers because I'm going to have her hold her wand, so her fingers are going to be wrapped around that. I roll out some more of that pink fondant for the sleeves. There is so much detail in Glinda's dress. I never noticed until I made this cake. It is like a proper, the kind of dress you would see in a pantomime. It is covered in butterflies and stars. It's crazy. I add some stars and beads with royal icing. If your beads have little spikes on from where you've piped them, just take a slightly damp paintbrush and neaten them up. Add some more stars with grey fondant. Use some more grey fondant to add her choker necklace, and then I add the fondant butterfly to it. She also has butterflies on her shoulder and her wrists that I will add later. I attach her arms with a little water and use a dry paintbrush to help me wrap her fingers around her wand. To start her hair, I add a circle of brownie ginger to the top of her head and score in some hairlines. Make a rough template of the crown and lay it on some grey modelling paste, and then use my X-Acto knife to cut around it, and then I wrap that around her head. Then I use a sculpting tool to add in the detail to the crown. Before I add her hair, I need to add the puffy sleeves using some more of my pink fondant. The rest of her hair, I take some more of my orangey brown fondant and twist it into curls and stick them on with some water. I then add the bigger details to the dress using more of my grey fondant and a sculpting tool. I also add extra details to the crown. I roll out some tiny pieces of black fondant to give her some eyelashes. I paint on some eyebrows, and I also give her some blush with some pink petal dust. And now I need to take some more of my silver petal dust and clear food grade alcohol and paint all of the grey details and the royal icing details. So that is Glinda complete. The last thing that I need to do now is to make the yellow brick road for her to stand on. I cover a cake drum in yellow fondant and use a ruler to measure and create the bricks. So that's it for this week's cake. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next Wednesday at 5 PM GMT. And until then, please subscribe and share. Thank you, bye.